Hello friends and welcome back. Today I am going to be doing the Reading Rush Challenge. Now this is the Stay at Home Reading Rush Challenge that's been started over on BookTube, and we all know I secretly want to be a booktuber. Also, I really like doing reading vlogs. I know not everybody likes watching them from me, but they're one of my favorite videos to film. So basically the Reading Rush is a 4-day period starting today, the 16th of April, where we try to read as much as we can. And there's some kind of challenges to see if you can read books that fit the challenge. I'm not sure how well I'm going to do at that, but I am going to read plenty. And there's also a tag to go along with it. So that's what we're starting with. I'll leave a link below to the Reading Rush channel and the video that explains all of this stuff. But right now we're going to get stuck into the tag. So question 1 is, how is your reading going while staying at home? Now I've been at home, oh God, I've completely lost track of time. 3 or 4 weeks now. My work kind of shut down quite early, which I was very grateful for. So I've been home for a while, and for the first 2 or 3 weeks my reading was not going very well. I think with the heightened level of anxiety, I struggle reading anyway when my anxiety is a bit high. So I think I felt like I should be reading more because I had all this time, but it just wasn't happening. However, in the last week or so, I won't say that my reading's kind of taken off, but it's definitely started to come back. So I'm still not reading as much as I would like to, although I feel like I never read as much as I like to. I definitely am actually reading though, which is nice. Question 2, where have you been reading at home? I'm kind of reading in 2 places at the moment, maybe 3. I'm reading in bed a little bit as usual, also read on our balcony every now and then, especially when it's nice and sunny. The main place I'm reading though is on our couch. It's a new couch. We bought ourselves a couch for Christmas, which was very exciting, and it's just, we kind of rearranged the whole lounge room area, and it's in a great spot. It kind of gets some natural light, which is lovely, and it's just really super comfy. So that is where I've been reading most. Question 3 is the best book you've read so far in isolation. That would have to be Skullface Bookseller Honda-san. I read volumes 2 and 3 of that recently, and I love that because I work in a bookshop, and that's basically a manga about someone working in a bookshop, and it's obviously kind of exaggerated and it's very funny, but it's just so much that I identify with in that experience, but also it just makes me laugh. So even though it kind of made me miss my job even more, if you can believe it, it was just a really fun, chill read, and I really like that series. Question 4 is your favorite feel-good book, and that would have to be Meeting Fairies by R. Abercrombie. I cannot tell you how many times I've read this book. It has been published under a whole bunch of different names, and I know it was recently reprinted as Encounters with Nature Spirits, I think. I do have a copy of that also, but Meeting Fairies was the edition that I first discovered in my library, and then I found a copy secondhand, and I love how it feels, and I just love the story. It's basically a true story, a bit of a memoir, I suppose, of this old man who meets a fairy, a faun, in Edinburgh Gardens, and goes on this journey to meet and work with and develop a relationship with nature spirits. And whether you take it as fiction or non-fiction, whatever, I don't really care. To me, it's just the most charming, beautiful story ever, and I love it. Question 5 is book you wish you could buy or borrow from the library. Now, I don't know what the situation is like in the rest of the world, but I can still buy books very easily. I just have to order them online. There's a really good bookshop in Sydney that I love. My bookshop that I work at is still shipping out, so I still have access to books very easily, and I have been getting a shipment or 2 of books every week, don't you worry. I will say what I'm missing is just browsing, perusing the shelves, and just discovering things because the cover looks pretty or the title looks interesting or whatever. I'm missing that because I do feel like that kind of just picking up something random is harder to do online. So that's what I miss. Question 6 is author you'd like to shout out during this time, and the idea is that things are a little bit hard for the publishing industry and for authors at the moment. And so an author I would love to shout out would be Maxine Beneba Clarke. I discovered her writing early last year with Foreign Soil, which had quickly became one of my favorite books. It was a collection of short stories. She's written several other books, and I just think she's brilliant. I got to go to her book launch for Growing Up African in Australia, which she edited. I got to meet her, got her to sign that and Foreign Soil for me, which I was stoked about. She's an incredible writer, very raw, very real, really kind of captures the mood and the atmosphere of whatever she's trying to convey really well. And she also publishes a poem in a newspaper here in Australia every week, which she also shares on her Instagram. So if you're into that sort of stuff, if you're into poetry, you can follow her on Instagram and get a taste over there. But Foreign Soil is one of my favorite books of all time, and I definitely recommend that one. And our last question is our Reading Rush TBR. And as I said in the beginning, there are 4 kind of challenges to see if you can hit with this Reading Rush. And I'm kind of torn between sort of trying to do that or just reading whatever the hell I want. The challenges, I'll let you know what they are, is to read a book with a house on the cover, because it's staying home reading rush, to read a book in the same room, to read a book that is set somewhere you wish you could go, and to read a book that will make you smile. And I have been through this whole shelf and I could not find a single book with a house on the cover except for one, and that is my copy of Anne of Green Gables, which I've read a bunch of times and don't really feel like reading again. Nothing else has a house on the cover though. And of course I always have the option of getting like an ebook on my Kindle, but I can't think of anything that I really want to read. So I'd have to be going out of my way to find something, which depending on my mood, I might do. I think I can pretty easily meet the other 3, just with general reading. So as for my TBR, I kind of don't really know what I'm going to be doing. I'm just going to be reading and seeing how much I can read and seeing how much I can enjoy that process. I do have 2 books that I'm reading currently though, so of course I would like to finish those. The first is Goodnight Pun Pun. I'm up to volume 4 and I'm nearly finished it. I've got, I don't know, like a third left to go. So this I would like to finish. This will not be making me smile though. This is depressing as fuck. And then I am also reading How to Do Nothing, Resisting the Attention Economy by Jenny Odell. I'm reading this along with my Blossom Book Club over on my Discord channel. And I mean, it's not a very long book, but I'm only like in the 2nd chapter. And obviously I don't agree with everything that she says, but I am really liking this book, and it's definitely making me think about my time and also what I place value on, and how that is informed by the society that we live in, and how I've internalized a lot of that stuff, even if I am very anti-capitalist in my thinking. So I think I'm just going to be quite kind to myself during this reading rush, take it as an opportunity to vlog, which I love to do, and to read more, of course. So I will keep an eye out for a book with a house on the cover, but I don't think I'm going to be too focused on that. I'm just going to read what I want to read, because I find that especially when your reading motivation levels are kind of a little bit iffy, reading something, forcing yourself to read something is the quickest way to fall into a reading slump. So I just want to be kind to myself and let myself read what I want to read, which will probably be a mix of a whole lot of different things. So stick around for the next 4 days and read along with me. It is getting quite late and I want to wrap this video up because I did a poll on Instagram today asking whether you guys wanted to see daily vlogs for this readathon or whether you'd rather one long reading vlog, which is kind of more what I'd intended to do. But I think it was about 65%, so it was pretty close, but 65% of you said you'd rather see daily vlogs. So that means I have to wrap up and edit and get this up tonight. So I thought we could talk about the reading that I have done today because I did quite a bit actually. So as you know, when we first started, I had about a third left of volume 4 of Pun Pun to get through, and manga's easy to get through, so I got through that very quickly. And I have to say, while there is something about this series that is still very compelling, I'm enjoying it a lot less than I did when I first started with the first volume. And I suppose I keep hoping for the best for Pun Pun, but that has yet to manifest. So I'm not entirely sure how I feel about this series. I mean, I have the entire 7 volumes on my shelf, so I'll be reading them. But I suppose I'm not loving it like I was when I first started. Now this afternoon after I finished Pun Pun, I decided to pick up another book on my bookshelf. This is All Systems Red by Martha Wells, The Murderbot Diaries. This is a book that came in the Life's Library several months ago now, I think, that I just hadn't read. And I really like the Life's Library. I've gotten some really great reads out of that, but I've fallen behind quite a bit in the last few months. So I'm really happy that I finally got around to this, and it's quite a short book. That's why I decided to pick it up. And basically this story is where we follow this sec unit or security unit who is basically an android, I suppose, that is contracted out to provide security to a team of researchers who are going exploring on a planet. And then stuff goes wrong and people die and a conspiracy emerges, and this sec unit has to try and keep its people alive, basically. But the twist is that this sec unit is, I suppose, what we would consider self-aware and sentient in a way that others aren't. And it is a really short book. It's only 150 pages, so it's very fast-paced, but it didn't feel like it skimped on any of the details. Like, I'm sure you could go in further with kind of side plots and more backstory or something to fill it out, but it still felt like a fully fleshed story, and I was definitely engaged the whole way through. And I love the exploration of kind of like whether this droid is alive, sentient, it's self-aware, what that means about it and its rights, although we don't go too far into the philosophy of that because the story is told from the perspective of, it's narrated by our sec unit. And it's been a while since I read a good sci-fi, so I really enjoyed that one. I think for the rest of the evening, obviously I have to edit this video and get it up for you guys, and then I might, if I can be bothered to keep reading, I might read a little bit of How to Do Nothing. But that is all for this video. I'll see you tomorrow for day 2 of the stay-at-home reading rush. I really hope you enjoyed hanging out with me for today. Before we go, of course, I have to say a big thank you to everybody over on my Patreon for all of your support. I really do appreciate it. It means a lot to me. And a big extra special thank you to Tracy Timmerman, Laurie, Lynette Brown, The Hales K, and Biffy Rose for your above and beyond support. It really means a lot. Thank you. I'd love to hear if you're following along with the reading rush, and if you are, what you're reading. Let me know in the comments below, or just talk to me all things books, because you know I love that. And I will see you all tomorrow. So much love. Bye.